state of things now and the way they have been are not good. I am hiding this part of me, and I can't bring this into the light. I don't want to create a hostile situation, and I'm very worried about losing my girlfriend if and when I tell her. We were having a conversation once, and she mentioned that prayer is being restricted in schools, or something similar. I said that kids were still allowed to pray and disagreed with her position. Just that was enough to upset her, and she said she didn't think I even believed in God. I wish I could have just said it right there and had the conversation. I couldn't. She was already upset, and I can't remember, but I think I denied it. The temperature of the conversation escalated so much in just an instant, and it frightened me. Call me a coward if you want, but I just felt and continue to feel frozen here. I don't want people to look down on me and cut me out of their lives. I just don't want to deal with the massive disruption I'm sure it will cause. I think my whole life will take another drastic turn if I say what I think, and I don't know how to deal with that. The unfortunate result of this, however, is that I have to maintain a lie, be dishonest with my loved ones, which also feels terrible and wrong. I know it isn't fair to them either. Why should my girlfriend have to waste her time with me if this does turn out to be a deal-breaker issue for her? I would be taking that time away from her in this one life she can enjoy. It is selfishness on my part. I want to marry her, and she also wants to get married. But I can't go into something like that under false pretenses. She doesn't deserve what I'm doing here. Yet I still haven't been able to broach the topic. There is another aspect I see too. I don't think that they really want to know, or at least they wouldn't want it to be the case that I no longer believe. So on one hand, I'm sparing them from that reality. Ignorance is bliss in this regard. So I can look at it as this balance. Harm I cause by telling them, plus the benefit that they know the truth, versus harm I am causing by hiding this about myself, plus the benefit of living life as if I still believed. I don't really know where to come down on this, but telling them does seem like the right thing to do. I don't know how long I can fake it. It feels like it is getting harder and harder, and I don't enjoy suppressing this truth about myself. If I pray with them, it is an active lie I don't want to do, even though I don't effectively think it matters since I don't think anyone is actually listening. I also don't want to go on reinforcing these concepts in my children. I want them to know how I think, and so far I have been going along with things as usual. I keep trying to figure out when, where, and how to go about revealing the truth about my views. This is the best scenario I can come up with so far. Tell my girlfriend first. Have the conversation away from the house and in a quiet place. Perhaps on a nature walk somewhere, maybe after finding a place to sit down and talk. Tell her there is something that has been on my mind. Explain that I want to be honest with her and that I need to talk about it with her before we can move forward in our relationship. Clarify that it is my love for her which is motivating me to tell her this, knowing our success together requires this honest conversation. Convey to her my fear and understanding about the importance of this issue, personally and relationally. Make the point that this is not something I have come to lightly, and that I hope she would agree that coming to flippant conclusions is not my personality, and that I hope she takes this into account. I expect tears, see how she responds, and A, experience an awkward drive home, walk through the complexity of this new status together till she concludes that we can or cannot stay together. If we get through it, then we can marry. Or B, experience her anger, awkward drive home, or she calls someone to pick her up, or I get a ride myself. Pack all my things up from her place as quickly as possible. I don't think she would be unreasonable about me getting my things. Begin dealing with the loss of the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. Or C, completely unanticipated, tell my parents second. Potentially with my girlfriend present as moral support, and potentially with my sister present as she also comes out to them at the same time. I expect tears and shock and potentially objections. Expect all future interactions and family events to be very awkward at the least. I'm not expecting any retribution, and I think they will express continued love and support. They will probably ask to pray for me and will certainly be praying privately for me a lot. I will be dealing with potentially depressive feelings as a result, with the expectation that I will be going to hell. Tell my children third. I'm not sure how to address this yet. These are just a few of the issues I get a sense of when I start thinking about it, and I expect there to be many more unanticipated issues surfacing when this happens. Here is another consideration I have been going over. Recently, my girlfriend and I watched the movie The Lovely Bones. After it was over and the credits started rolling, the first thing my girlfriend said was this: "If there is no heaven, we have no hope." That struck me, and it stuck with me. If you didn't get anything from that, then slowly go over it again. I think there's a lot in that statement. If there is no heaven, then we have no hope. I think people would be perfectly happy to accept there was no God, as long as there was still a heaven. To live a life that is full of struggle, pain, hurt, loss of family and friends, and unnecessary suffering. It becomes much easier to get through the day comforted by the thought that this is temporary, and all wrongs will one day be made right. When we see some people in this world living a life of luxury and our own are struggling to survive, and when many leave their families to go make a better life so they can send money back to support their family, yet miss out on years and years of interacting with the people they love, that sacrifice is worth it, knowing that they will be reunited again in bliss one day. How painful will the revelation of my unbelief be, which may be taken as me saying those hopes and dreams are meaningless. I would hate to cause that kind of pain. In this case, I see the usefulness of religion. I can't live like that anymore, but I know what I went through coming out of it, and others might have a harder time dealing with it than I had. I have tried not to go into very much detail on the specifics of the reasons why I lost my faith. I hope this hasn't come across as combative in any way. My intention has been to cover the many aspects that affect my thinking on this subject, as well as briefly retrace my steps. I still can't help but think to myself what someone else might think. It might have come across as a very shallow, ill-informed conclusion. Maybe people would think I accepted terrible information. That could be true. I'm very open to being wrong. To determine if that is the case, I will want to methodologically go through any particular area and find out whatever answers I can. I would be happy to be corrected on any issue. I did learn things though, and skeptical thinking being one of the most important. I will not accept, however, answers such as, "It's a mystery," or "It's not our place to know such things." Although those answers could conceptually be correct, they would seem to indicate that it is worthwhile to accept things as true that are apparent contradictions. Perhaps it is the case that accepting apparent contradictions as true is the best thing to do. But I would need someone to make a very convincing case for that, and I doubt most people would attempt to argue that position. I'll stop myself there. I am happy to get into the details of all these things I have been going over. They are great chances to learn something new about reality and our lives. It isn't the purpose I have intended for this now. I believe this generally completes the retracing of my steps. This is all I have for now. It's been therapeutic for me to write and ramble. Thanks for listening, and I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. I want to continue writing, but the next thing I'm going to make will begin addressing some of the bigger issues I find problematic.